Welcome. Today I'm going to take on the persona of a supply chain manager to illustrate NetSuite's planning and inventory. During the demonstration, I will cover item planning parameters, demand plan generation, supply plan generation. Prior to implementing NetSuite, most companies face a similar set of business challenges. These companies have established manual processes for replenishing their raw materials and their finished goods. They have no real insight into current stock levels, and they have a manual or offline production process which impacts supply planning. NetSuite has developed a set of leading practices based on our work with thousands of customers over the last 20 years. These leading practices are developed out of the box and are delivered day one. They were built to address many of the common challenges we see in managing the replenishment process. From flexible workflows that scale with your business to the built-in dashboards designed specifically to manage the planning and inventory process. Using NetSuite, a single system, the information flows seamlessly from demand to supply, which helps give you real-time visibility and leads to accurate planning. I am currently logged in as a supply chain manager. The supply chain manager can quickly review demand and supply plans or create work orders or purchase orders. They can also see KPIs and graphs that allow them to analyze the inventory movements. Reminders notify them of exceptions that need their attention. Let's start by reviewing the Item 360 and specific replenishment parameters. This is an assembly item with defined components. On the item, we can define the replenishment method as reorder points or time-phased. Time-phase uses demand and supply planning. NetSuite can auto-calculate lead time, reorder point, and stock levels. For each location, we can define lot sizing methods, periods of supply, supply type, and demand source to be used in time phase planning. Now let's see how we can use these replenishment parameters to generate an item demand plan. The demand plan can be based on sales history and sales pipeline, depending on the projection method selected. NetSuite supports an auto calculation of the demand plan for up to 12 months into the future in either weekly or monthly buckets. NetSuite can also consider up to 3 years of sales history in calculation of the demand plan. On the demand plan, we can select our items, one or multiple items, as well as the location we wish to plan for. Once the item demand plan is calculated, we can review the item demand plan. This demand plan allows for manual adjustments, and we can plan by location, and we can select it in either weekly or monthly buckets to see the demand. Now that we have generated the demand for an item at a location and we understand how much we need in a specific week or month, we can then generate an item supply plan. Supply plans are also generated by location, where we can select one or multiple items for a specific date range. And when calculating the supply plan based upon the demand plan, NetSuite will consider all levels of the bill of materials and plan for those levels accordingly. Once the supply plan is generated, we can review the supply plan in detail. The item that we planned for was an assembly item. So here you can see the supply plan is to generate multiple work orders to meet the demand. If this was a regular inventory item, NetSuite would suggest purchase orders and potentially transfer orders. Now that we know what our demand is and how we're going to get supply here for that demand, we can look at our gross requirements inquiry screen by location and by item to see the details of when that demand is and when the supply is going to come in to meet that demand. When we generate the item supply plan, NetSuite can go ahead and automatically create the work orders in the plan status. Work orders in a plan status can be then further reviewed for scheduling or material constraints before being released to the shop floor. So by location and by work order, we can release from a plan status to a release status simply by checking the boxes and clicking submit. For those items we need to purchase, we can see that in our order items screen. Once again, by location, by vendor, and other parameters and filters, we can see the items that we need to replenish. So my buyer can see all the items that need to be replenished and easily create a PO with a single click by checking the boxes and clicking submit. Now that you've seen how my company uses NetSuite to efficiently manage our planning and inventory process, let's discuss what this means for your business. It allows for a collaborative environment where all planners have a view into demand and supply planning. It makes sure you have the right amount of inventory at the right time and reduces purchase order expedite costs and late sales orders. Proactively allows the management of demand variability and supply chain disruptions by highlighting exceptions. And remember, once live on NetSuite's leading practices, there are plenty of advanced features and functionality to take advantage of when the time is right. So as your business grows, NetSuite is here to scale with you.